Everybody, welcome to Legendary Talks 100th. Well, who'd have thought we would be celebrating 100? I am very excited to be here, as you can imagine. Thrilled and excited to be on Legendary Talks, y'all. I am going to have some amazing guests. We have my very first performance ever. And I can't wait to share it all with you. Okay, so Legendary Talks 100. Thank you all for joining me. I am thrilled and excited and got dressed up for the first time in a long time for this amazing celebration. I'm also very excited to be partnering with Belvedere on a 4-part series. We both have a lot in common. We both celebrate authenticity, craftsmanship, and integrity. Belvedere's new campaign, Made with Nature, anchors the brand in nature. It's made with Polska rye, purified water, and is distilled with fire, and that's it. The end result is very natural. It is a luxe cocktail of character and authenticity like me. Belvedere's philosophy is natural and simple, period. It does not use additives or sugar. Belvedere seeks to inspire people to drink better, quality over quantity. Tonight I will be sipping the Belvedere Super Cocktail Kale, and if anyone knows me, you know that I love me some kale. It's made with Belvedere vodka, curly kale, fresh lemon juice, ginger, cucumber, celery stalks, and dry kale. Now let me have a little sip. Yummy. I feel like working out, y'all. So, I am thrilled to welcome our first guest. He is a really interesting, cool, forever hip, young, amazing actor, Dylan McDermott. He'll be joining us in a second. And in the meantime, how's everyone feeling today? I'm feeling great. Thank you, DJ MOS. You did an amazing job. I really appreciate that set. I know it was for me. And it was a great pre-party. So yes, Dylan will be joining us shortly, and I'm thrilled to chat with him. What's up, Frank Roberts? What's up, Sydney? What's up, Claudine? What's up, Marjorie? Can you believe we're celebrating 100 episodes? Hey, Chandra. Hey, TK. Thank you, everybody. MOS, thank you. That was amazing. What's up, Red? At the end of tonight's show, we have my first ever performance, which is by my IG crush, Lion Babe. So we will have Dylan in a moment. We're waiting for Dylan, and in the meantime, I want to thank you all for supporting this, just being a part of this. I started the show on March 28th, and I had no idea what it was going to entail. Now I'm celebrating my 100th grand episode, and it's just amazing. So Dylan will be joining us shortly. Let me check and see if he's on yet. The legendary icon that is Dylan Icon McDermott. Yes, no, he's not here yet, so we will chat in the meantime. So, guys, thank you for supporting. I think Sydney, Oliver, Erica, maybe Chandra, they get the most viewed. I think they've seen almost every episode. Thank you guys for all the support. And I also have Bevy Smith. She's on the second half of the program. Another great, amazing person I cannot wait to celebrate. Very excited. We've been chatting all day, so I'm just really happy with, where this has gone and, how I look. I'm into my outfit. Our drinking word will be authentic tonight, and I am dressed up because I felt like being myself and being authentic. So there you go. How's everyone feeling? What have been some memorable legendary talks? What's been your favorite so far? Jessica Rosenblum seems to be people's favorite. Jessica is a big one. What's up, Brian? Jessica Rosenblum, they're all my favorite, but what have been some of your favorites? Fabrizio was a favorite as well, yes. I have loved, Timac, yes, another favorite, good. Those are all good ones. I made a video, I don't know if you guys saw it. I put probably about 20 past guests. Jessica and Dante, good. Yes, Brian Vincent. Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a really fun, interesting thing that I have really gotten, I started it because I wanted to celebrate these people and, give them the chance to share their stories. And it's kind of turned into something, bigger than I even imagined, which is amazing. So DJ Cassidy, DJ D-Nice, Nelly. Those are all people's favorites, they're saying. Andre Simone. Wow, I kind of forget about all these. Connie Girl. Oh, yes. Wow. I've done 100, so... Yeah, D-Nice was a crowd pleaser. Andre Simone was great. You know, I am, in a lot of ways, I'm humbled that I get to interview these people. It's really exciting for me that I get to celebrate them. And as you know, a lot of them are not, you know, some people know their stories. A lot of people don't know their stories, and I like to be able to, number one, hear their stories, but to be able to share their stories, which is, you know, basically what this whole show is about. People sharing their cultural stories. So, yeah, Connie Girl was great. Khalees was great. It's a trip down memory lane. This has been the last 6-7 months of my life, y'all. Yeah, I started March 29th, and I never in a million years thought that I would, I don't know. I mean, I had no idea what the end goal is. So celebrating 100, can't wait to celebrate 100 more. We have a great lineup next week already. So DJ Cassidy, Yusuf, Margie Plus. It's never ending. People ask me all the time, am I going to run out of guests? I'm like, I never will. I will literally never will run out. There's so many... I haven't even scratched the surface. There's so many great people that I cannot wait to interview. So, and everyone has asked me what is my my dream guest, and I keep saying Debbie Mazar, who I don't know. She would be my dream guest. So, I would love to chat with her. Let me see where Dylan is. Dylan, if you're watching, let's get on. I don't see him yet, but. I am excited to chat with him, although I don't see him. Okay. Yeah, so waiting for the legendary Dylan McDermott, and we're about to get the show started. We have Bevy Smith after Dylan, and then we have my first ever performance, Lion Babe, naturally Lion Babe. So I am excited to chat with her, and our drinking word is going to be authenticity. There you go. Yummy. Thank you, Belvedere. Super Belvedere cocktail, super cocktail kale. And, you know, we are here, y'all. The cocktail kale, in case you guys want to know, is, it is vodka, curly kale, fresh lemon juice, ginger, cucumber, celery stalks, and dry kale. And it is very yummy. I like it, of course, because it's kale. So, guys, what do you think of my outfit? Glasses, no glasses. Hat, no hat. Screw it, do it all, right? Where's Nelcan, by the way? I don't see Nelcan on here. Irish infused. She better be on here. Yummy. So Frank Roberts, I want to thank him. He was a guest of ours, and he is a good friend of Dylan's. That's how I met Dylan. And I am very excited to celebrate all of you and my guests. So, what do you guys think of Emma West's set? I loved it. He spun amazing as usual. I think that he was spinning for me personally, but, you know, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. It was amazing. Oh, there's Nelly, finally. Okay. I'm like, where's Nelly? I think Emma West was spinning for me, so I hope that y'all enjoyed it. It was an amazing set, and little pre-party vibes definitely got me hyped. Thank you, Emma West. My brother, DJ Emma West. Frank, when are you coming to Los Angeles? Don't come when I'm not here. Emma West, thank you. I appreciate that. What's up, Claudine? See my balloons, Claudine? That's plenty, right? I'm good. Hey, Carlos, what's up? How y'all doing? I am... Let me maybe... Frank, maybe you want to text Dylan. Tell him we're ready for him. Yes, Emma West was amazing. End of October. Well, I won't be there, Frank, so you're going to miss me. Whatever. Your loss. So, I'm going to be in New York City to vote. I can't wait. I hope everyone is voting. I'm sure everyone on here is voting, actually. I don't even need to say that. That is, I think, anyone watching this is going to be voting, so. And voting the right way, so. What did you guys think of The Fly last night? And Yes, good. Okay, great. Thank you, Frank. TK, love you. Thank you for being so supportive. Carlos, what's up, Carlos? I saw you on MOS's set. Thank you. What's up, Terrion? What's up, Rouge? Chandra, thank you. I think, like I said, Red Chandra, Sydney, and Erica, I think they get most viewed. I think Dylan is on now. Great, there we go. Welcoming the legendary icon that is Dylan McDermott. Cool guy, eternal cool guy.
Hey.
Woo! LD.
You're so funny. Yes. How you feeling?
I thought I was supposed to come on at 7:30.
That's okay. We figured it out. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, man. I was in Antigua.
Oh, nice.
So I was so relaxed. I needed a vacation so badly.
Good.
So I'm so relaxed right now and so happy. Everyone should take a vacation at some point in their life. I feel like I haven't had a vacation like in 10 years.
Are you in LA or New York?
I'm in LA right now. I haven't been in New York in forever. Have you?
No. I'm going back to vote. I'll be there on, voting time. So.
When was the last time you were in New York?
March, actually with Frank Roberts. We had an awkward dinner right before everything went crazy.
Oh, so it's yes.
So, as you know, this is my 100th episode. You've seen a few of these, and
congratulations.
Thank you.
By the way, 100 episodes. Come on.
Yes, I really appreciate you doing this. I'm really happy you're doing this, and you are Dylan Icon McDermott. So I really appreciate that. So
thank you.
I like asking people in the beginning to describe themselves. Like, describe yourself to me as if I did not know you. How would you describe yourself in any capacity?
Whoa,
I know.
That is a good question, Damon, because it's kind of a loaded question. There's so many, I think, different parts of me. Maybe that's why I'm an actor, because I don't think I ever decided which one to kind of like go out into the world in. So I'm much more comfortable playing a character, frankly, than being myself.
Interesting.
And I think that's why I became an actor, because it was always like, well, I'm so many different people. I'm an artist, basically. If you were asking me who I was, if I was a one-word answer, it would be artist. And I think I've always come from that place in my life of being an artist. I've always identified with art and people who make art, whether it be a musician or a painter or an actor or whatever. I've always kind of nuzzled up to them because they understood me more than anybody else.
Oh, that's a great answer. What's interesting, because I had written on my notes for you, eternally hip. To me, you are, you're just eternally hip. You're like, to me, you're, if you're somewhere, it kind of makes it, you're at the cool places all the time, but I feel like, I'm a creative. I feel like you're a creative. Creative people have a thirst for that. I think that you thirst for seeing things. And, I always say as a young person, I was always so curious about stuff and really like, just creative art, that kind of stuff. I was so thirsty for that stuff. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, because when I was a kid, I grew up in New York with my dad and my grandmother in Connecticut. But when I would come down to New York, and this was like in the 70s, I'm like 15, 16 at this point. I would go to the Mud Club. And that was like, blew my mind. And they let me in.
As they should. I just read that book recently. It sounds like they let, anybody cool in, didn't matter. It sounds like, well, okay, so ideally, you're this like, amazing actor, tons of, movie roles, Emmy nominations, long, lengthy career. We ain't here to talk about any of that. I want to talk about exactly that. That's what Wikipedia is for. I want to talk about you at Studio 54, you at the Mud Club. You told me you went to Studio 54, right?
No, I never went to, I was
Oh,
always more, I went to sort of like danceteria, hurrah. Do you remember hurrah?
yep.
I worked at Area. Remember Area?
I didn't know you worked there. That's amazing.
I only one night.
Oh, what'd you
I
do?
worked, remember they had those sort of windows?
I didn't go. It was before my time, but I'm obsessed with it. What did you do there?
I sort of did one of these scenes. They had a window where you would walk in, and they had these scenes.
Amazing.
So I was in the display window, if you will.
Wow.
And people would walk by me, and there were a couple other people in the room there, and I was like, wow, this is the weirdest thing I've ever done. But anyway, I really enjoyed the reason, and I'm writing my memoir now, and I talk about going to and Ed Frank Roberts, NYC, knows this better than anybody. There's something about smoke, the smoke machine. When that goes off and the music is loud, you can disappear. And there was something about that. And I remember I was doing plays in New York, and I would go to clubs afterward, and I wouldn't even talk to anybody. I just wanted to disappear. And clubs really allowed, especially as a kid, allowed me to sort of step back and take a bird's eye view of the world.
Wow.
Study people, because I love to study people. I study people all the time. I study people's voices and the way they walk and the way they talk and who they are. So I love to. And one of the drawbacks of fame is that you can't do that as much.
Yeah, because they're looking at you. They're studying you.
And I hate that. I want to look at people. You know, I want to study. I love people. I love to go out with my camera and just like take pictures of people.
Yeah.
And you know, the more successful you get, the less you can do that.
Yeah.
But I always really enjoyed the club world. I mean, your world. I really enjoyed it because I don't know. There's something about the misfits.
Yep.
Of the world that I've always been attracted to it. And I really talk about that in my book. You know, just there's something about the discarded and the misfit and the people who don't fit in that have always attracted me. And the club world kind of, you know, embraces those people.
Yeah, you know, I always say in my world, what I like to create is a place to celebrate people like that. You know, they can come to my party and feel celebrated. Maybe not anywhere else in the world, but at my party they can feel celebrated. You mean so?
Yeah. And that's what's great is that, you know, the first time I saw you and I was like, wow, this dude is like magic. I think his outfits and he's really being who he is. And now I get to know you, I realize this is who you are. This is not, you're not putting something on. This is exactly who you are, which is even more exciting because you think, oh no, maybe this is an outfit, but it's not even an outfit. It's you.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because what I do, I wear the outfit and then I take it off. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm playing a character. This is who I really are.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's authentic, right? Because that's, you know, as an actor, you're always looking for what is authentic. And I do tons of research, like in Hollywood, you know, that guy that I played, I even had his underwear made, you know, I had the jewelry all picked out. I love to do stuff like that. I love to find people and make them up. Well,
sidebar, unrelated. I loved you in that. I'm not saying because we're talking that you were so amazing in that. Like you were definitely my favorite part of all of Hollywood. That character, I thought was a great character. You mean?
Yeah, and now I'm getting to a point where I can play those characters that I've always wanted to play. That were, you know, these people that when I would watch growing up in the village, when my father was a manager at a bar, I would watch all these people. I would wait on John Belushi and Matthew Broderick and Michelle Pfeiffer and dream about being an actor. Yeah. And then there were like other people that I would watch all day long and steal from them and steal everything. Just their character. Because I knew one day that I would use that somewhere. Wow. And that's the great thing about New York. You know, that's what I miss about it. Because in Los Angeles, you tend to isolate more. Where in New York, you really have to be with people.
I absolutely agree. But they both have their pros and cons. To me, there's that adage like New York versus LA. I always say I don't like to choose. I like both. You mean I don't? You know, the only benefit to me of LA the main benefit is that LA has all this nature, like the hiking and stuff like that. Do you do any nature here?
You know, I live in a, luckily, you know, I'm very fortunate that I picked a place that sort of, there's only 2 houses on my street. So I
Yeah.
sort of live in nature. I don't have to go out
Yeah.
and seek it.
Yeah.
But I never grew up like that. I grew up in a concrete jungle. You know, there was one blade of grass when I was growing up. So this is all new for me. And that's what, you know, going back to the book, you know, that's what's great about writing a book, by the way, is that you get to go back.
Yeah.
And you should write a memoir, by the way.
I will. I will.
Because you get to go back and relive your whole life. And there's something so satisfying about that.
Well, I have a bad memory. What about you? I don't have a great memory, do you?
I did. And I really worked on my memory. I really worked on finding it again. And luckily, I retrieved a lot of information that was lost.
You know what's kind of weird or interesting about me is that if you show me a picture, I won't remember. Let's say, remember that party at, 3 years ago at this place? Yeah. I remember. Show me a picture of my outfit. I will remember it. I'm being serious. Show me the outfit. I absolutely remember the day, the night, everything. It's like I remember by my outfit. I've always been that way. It's very, so everyone's different.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about like 80s New York because I am moderately obsessed with that. Were you like, were you seeing like Andy Warhol? Were you seeing Madonna? And you see like what was going on for you during that time?
Yeah, especially back then. You know, Andy certainly was always around. He would, hang out with Stephen Sprouse. Remember him?
Of course.
Yeah. So he was always around. And again, I was always intimidated by that world because I hadn't dropped into myself. Because I was around a lot of people. And again, I was more of an observer. Like, I knew Paul Newman and John Huston and I would see Andy Warhol and all these like, and of course Madonna and Cyndi Lauper and, these people were always around, but I was much too intimidated to actually ever approach them. Yeah. But I would observe them certainly. But that's why I like going to clubs because I could see them. Yeah. But it was fascinating because, well, first of all, the music, and it was all new. It was like this hadn't happened before. But the Mud Club really, and Max's Kansas City, to go to Max's Kansas City, and my favorite were the New York Dolls, to watch them. I would go all the time and watch Johnny Thunders fall off the stage. And, it was that heroin chic world. Yeah. And it was dirty, and it was raw, and it was messy, and it was... it was weird because you had new wave, you had disco, and you had punk, all sort of converging, at the same time. And it was wild because you could literally dress up as any of those things for one night and then go off. There was times, especially when I was a kid, I would go to discos, and I must have been like, 16. And I had I'll never forget, I had my Salvatore Ferragamo blue suede shoes. I had my polyester shirt and my tight pants. And I would go out into the disco by myself. And I would dance all night long and just like have the best time. You could do that. You know what I mean? And there was no fear.
No, New York seems so authentic and so free during that time, It
really was.
But it almost seemed a little desperate because it was, all the crime and all these different things, desperate in a great way, if that makes sense,
I carried brass knuckles around with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was rough.
I want to ask you another question. So, what is the Dylan McDermott fan club for middle-aged gay men? What is that? Leslie Jordan has been texting me all day about you. Please tell him to stop texting me. That to me is the funniest thing. I think, Leslie Jordan became a superstar over quarantine. He's so hilarious. Yeah. And to me, it was so funny because you were you're right there in on the joke. You're like, to me, the whole dynamic of it was hilarious. When you woke up one day and saw him saying that he's like the president of the, middle-aged gay men fan club for you, what are you feeling? What is that,
Well, firstly, when I saw him, we were doing American Horror Story together, and I had never met him before. And he comes on the set, and immediately, I'm attracted to the misfits of the world. Yeah. And when I see him, immediately a big smile comes on my face because I know that he's my people. Yeah. I know that he's just like, he makes me laugh. And I said there was Leslie, I said, little Leslie, let's take a picture. he was just like, he was right in it. He was right in it. And so we immediately just hit it off. We did a couple of scenes together, and we had the best time. And then the next thing I know, like weeks later, he posts that.
That's so funny.
The funniest shit ever.
It was literally like making me crack up. And then when you were kind of in on it, it just made it even next level amazing to me.
Yeah, we're going to work together. I mean, Ryan Murphy has promised that he's creating a show for us.
As it should be.
We are definitely going to work together again.
Well, okay, I want to ask you a couple questions about Ryan Murphy. I don't know Ryan at all, but to me, he's like amazing. So, you know, he takes, I think, like these 10 kind of actors. He has these like 10 muses that he just kind of switches around to different projects, you being one of them. Why do you think that you and Ryan kind of get along so well and work so well together?
You know, we're both Scorpios. So Scorpios tend to understand each other. Scorpios are a little different than, I think.
A little intense, Scorpios can be.
Yes, they're intense. And I think that, I don't know, I think that, you know, Ryan and I have the ability to tell each other the truth. Like I can tell Ryan the truth. And the funny thing is that, you know, as you get more successful in anything, in any business, people tend to tell you the truth less. Yeah. So you kind of you want those people in your life who will tell you the truth. Will say, Dylan, stop. You're being an idiot. Yeah. I want those people in my life. Yeah. Because I don't want somebody who's kissing my ass all day long. Of course. You know what I mean? I want somebody who's like in the trenches with me. Well, you don't grow as an artist or an actor if you hear that. The only way you grow is by hearing the truth, I feel like. You know, you stay the same as an actor, you know? Or an artist in general, you know? So. I think that, I always say that Ryan is the Andy Warhol of our time. I mean, he really understands pop culture like Andy did. He's sort of ahead of it, and he sees it, and he knows what's next, and he knows what people want. And I'm just happy to be on that ride because he has a vision like I've never seen. Well, I think he sees so big. When I think of him, I think that he just sees large, you know, like larger than most. And you know, I love pretty much everything he's ever done. So he's gifted is the bottom line, you know. I do want to talk about the elephant in the room right now, which is why you've aged so well. So to me, you know, I was thinking about it today, like, you know, really, I think the reason you've aged so well is because, number one, you don't take yourself so seriously. You don't take, you know, you're a serious actor, but you don't take yourself too serious. You know, and you're happy, and you're also like not jaded. As you know, you're been a famous actor for, I think, you know, several decades, and you're not jaded. How do you think you've been able to remain so true and stay so pure in all of that? Oh boy, I don't know about if it's true what you say, but I know that I've certainly, you know, the funny thing about life is that if you're not humble, you will be humbled. Yeah, it's true. You're right. Absolutely. And, I'm keenly aware of that. And I really, you know, and I fail all the time, but I really try to come from a place of humility, because I always ask myself, what would I be if all this was taken away? Yeah. You know, who would I be? Is that my identity? Is my identity an actor? Yeah. You know what I mean? What is my identity really? And if that was all stripped, you know, I have to ask myself that question, and you're left with who you are as a person. Yeah. And, you know, and that for me, that's always a work in progress. I'm always trying to be a better person. I'm always trying to deepen myself and find, you know, the reason I'm here. Yeah. And I think that, you know, writing my memoir has really helped me go through that, because you look at yourself and you say, wow, look how much I've grown. Yeah. I may not be there yet, but I'm striving for that. And I think I've always had that hungry spirit, if you will. You know, I think that most humans that at least that are in my world are striving to, I guess, learn and be better, number one. But I think you're doing a great job. I think you're being, you know, a little too humble about it. You're doing a great job. I think you're very grounded and very curious about life, and like I said, not jaded. And you know, I know people that are in their 20s that are extremely jaded. So, you know, you're doing a really good job at it. First of all, sidebar, you keep mentioning your book. I can't wait to read it. It sounds great. It's going to be many different things. It's like, it's going to be Nut Club and spiritual, you know, both. I can't wait to read it. So yeah, it's really, I've been having a really good time writing it. It's, you know, it's scary because it's like, it's not a role, it's you. Yeah. it's exposure in a way that I don't think I've ever been exposed. So I keep writing. I'm not even sure what I'm going to do with it, but I have to write this book. It's almost like my life's work in many ways.
Oh, wow.
So that's been really fun.
Madonna during quarantine, she wrote her own screenplay about herself, like basically her, biography. So like she wrote a movie about herself, which is kind of brilliant if you think about it. She didn't waste the time, and I think it's kind of brilliant. I'd rather hear Madonna's take on her life than someone else's.
It's a really important point that you bring up, because we have this time, which will pass, like all things in life. This too shall pass.
Yep.
But I always encourage people to use this time. Like I've used this time to deepen my relationship with my daughters.
Right.
I really have found out who they are in a way that I never knew before.
Yeah.
Because we're always distracted. We're always doing a million different things. We're always meeting up with people, or going to the gym, or going to work, or go get something to eat. But do you really? And I've done studies on this. How much time do you really spend with the people you love? And it's like something pathetic, like 3 minutes a day.
Oh, God. Terrible.
Really connecting with people. And this quarantine has forced me to do that, connect with my daughters, and I have a much better relationship for it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think we've all said a million times, if you don't grow and learn during this time, there's literally something wrong with you. Your heart is made out of cement or something. If you don't grow during this time.
Yeah, it's really important to sort of use the time. Don't let it pass you by.
Well, that's why I started doing this. I did this on my first day. This was March 29th, and I said I'm going to use this time to learn how to interview people and celebrate these people of culture. So, and
by the way, you've gotten a lot better.
Thank you. That's my whole goal. I have no ego about it. I'm very humble. I didn't do it before, so I started, and I did it in front of people for the last 7 months, and hopefully I've gotten better.
It's just hours of doing anything. You get better. And
exactly. No, I said
like,
if I got better.
Watching your early episodes till now, it's like, wow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I spend 100 hours or more, so I better get better. But thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And then finally, I want to ask you 2 quick questions before we go. What inspires you right now in life, over this part of your life, like the past year or so, not Corona related specifically, but like what is your main source of inspiration right now?
For me, I guess it's always spiritual for me, because I know I've always been aware since I was a kid that, life is not forever.
Yeah.
And, we're only here for a moment in time, and that moment will pass.
Yeah.
And what is your legacy?
Yeah.
What will your legacy be? You know what I mean? And how will you be remembered? So I'm interested in that. And that's why I'm sort of like getting all my ducks in a row in many ways, because I don't know. I don't know when that time is up.
Yeah.
So I've been really sort of like buckling down and figuring out like what's left, what's left, what do I want to leave here? And luckily I have my 2 kids, I have my beautiful 2 children who will carry on, and I will have some roles, and I will have my book, and I'll have my legacy, whatever that is, and hopefully people will talk kindly about me.
Well, it's interesting because several people have brought up legacy on here. I think people, maybe it's this time in time in the world right now, because several other people have brought up legacy being something they're really focused on. I was calling Crazy Legs a legend, and he said, I don't really think about that. I think about my legacy, how I'm going to be perceived out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and he asked
because, it's like
about my legacy, and I was like, I don't, Anyway,
there's a reason why we're here,
Yeah.
And your life counts. It matters. Yeah. Every life counts.
Yeah.
Every person counts. And there's a reason why they're here. And what is your purpose?
Yeah.
What is your purpose here? And I think that's something that we all have to ask ourselves.
What a deep conversation I didn't expect to be having. What amazing. I want to ask you another kind of, semi-deep question. What are you grateful for in life right now?
Oh, man. I live in a state of gratitude, because they say, a grateful mind is a happy mind.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm always looking for the things I have a gratitude list.
Yeah.
That I constantly refer to, because, You know, I don't want to be in longing for somewhere else or to be someone else or to be over there. I want to be here. I want to be with you right now, the present tense. That's living for me. And I think that gratitude makes me stay in the present tense. But I'm not searching to be somewhere else. I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm happy here. I don't want to have more money because, you know, they asked the Dalai Lama, why are rich people so unhappy? And he said, oh, rich people, they want more. And it's not about more. It's about enjoying what you have. Because when you enjoy what you have, you will get more, I promise you. But if you enjoy what you have right here, right now, you will be grateful. And gratitude equals happiness.
Well, it's interesting because, as you said it, you are always a very present person. Whenever, you know, I see you or I'm around you, you are very present in those in kind of crazy environments sometimes. To be, you know, in a party that we're doing, the Edition Hotel opening, it's chaos. You're very present in that moment. That's great. So you definitely achieved your goal. What I do sometimes, and I just thought about it as you said it, if something triggers me or something makes me angry, I immediately think of the 3 things I'm grateful for kind of at that moment just to balance the situation. So I think like I'm grateful that I got to talk to you today, something like that. You know, I think of the 3 things that day, specifically that day. So, but anyway. And then one final question before we go. How can we support you right now in your life? Whether it be a charity, something you're working on, buying your book, how can we support you?
You know, my mom has an organization called vday.org. Go to vday.org. They do incredible work with women around the world. Go there, check them out. I'm always just so enamored of them and the work they do in the world. So go there.
I'll hit you up after this and I'll get all the information. I'll post it for sure.
Okay, cool.
All right, Dylan, I thank you very much. I'm so happy to celebrate you as a person that's been very important to culture. I did not expect to have this deep, lengthy, deep, great conversation about life and spirituality, but it all makes sense now. When I think about it, I think of you. I'm just really happy that you are where you're at in your life, and that you are, you know, like I said, to me, you're eternally the eternal cool guy to me in a great way. I mean, that is a huge compliment, you know, and you're extremely humble and you're really cool. I don't know. Those are the 2 biggest compliments I can give someone, you know, so
thank you. Congratulations on 100 episodes. That's amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. It means a lot to me. So
absolutely, brother.
Can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, Dylan. Thank you. That was very fun. That was really deep and cool. Was not expecting all that from, you know, very deep. But we're going to talk about New York City, and we talked about life and amazingness. So now we have Bevy Smith. She will be joining us next. Oh, we have Bevy Smith. She will be joining us next. I think she's on right now. Is that her? That'll be perfect. Is Bev on? Yes. Oh, perfect timing. Hi, Bevy.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me get this.
Okay.
All
right.
Back.
Sorry, running a little bit late. Dylan got on late, so we're running a little late. Thank you.
Oh no, Angel, no worries. Okay, wait. Ooh, I want my titties to be showing. They're not up and up. Look, it's only getting my neck. That doesn't work. I put on sparkles for you though, Legendary.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Put some sparkle on my eyes. My makeup artist is watching. She's gonna hate the way I look. She doesn't like it when I wear color on my lips or on my eyes. But I said, you know what, lady? I'm doing it.
Thank you.
I'm doing it for Legendary. Legendary wouldn't want me in beige lips.
I definitely would not. And it does not go unnoticed. I see you, boo. So first of all, okay, so we have a sipping word here. Our sipping word is authentic. So every time we say authentic, we cheers.
Okay.
And authentic lines up with Belvedere's messaging, which is made with nature, and authenticity, which describes both you and I, in my opinion. So
yes. Oh.
So Bevy, I want to, first of all, let me tell you something funny. So this is my 100th episode, and I am so happy that you're doing this, but people have been telling me for months, you should have Bevy Smith on your show. You should have Bevy Smith on your show. I said, I'm going to have Bevy on when she's available and the right moment. People for months have been telling me to have you on. I'm like, relax, people. So I thought you'd be perfect to celebrate my 100th. I've wanted to have you on for a long time. I thought this is the right moment. So just so you know.
Well, I'm honored that I got asked. I definitely will say that I know that had not been asked prior.
Oh.
And I felt some kind of way, but I was not going to say I felt some kind of way.
But my thing is, so you understand now, my point is I was saving it. You get that, right?
I do.
Okay, and you know, and just so you know, on the show, what I've done is I celebrate people to me that have been very important to culture, the Lisa Coopers, the Jessica Rosenblums, that, you know, people don't sometimes know their story, but these people have been so important to culture, and that's really what this whole show is about in my mind, so.
I'm just still trying to get my titties in.
That's okay. All right, then I'm going to talk about you while you're doing all that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, to me, and you know this, we've said this many times, you're a visionary, but
you see my breast, Legend?
Your boobs? No.
Yes, you do. Oh, there they are.
Oh, yes, I do. I'm sorry, I do. My bad. Okay, so, you know, you're a visionary. I've told you many times, but you're such a trailblazer, and I don't think that you get the credit for the trailblazingness that you have done. You know, people give you credit for a lot of things, but to me, you know, you're literally, you know, carving out the way for so many people. I always say people like myself, Vashti, a bunch of people in my generation have been influenced by you. You know, and, you know, I always say I looked up to people like you and Lisa Cooper so much, you mean, when I was coming of age or whatever, you know. And then another thing that I love about you is that you are so generous with all your relationships. Like I remember one time we were, when Empire came out, everyone kept saying, Damon, you need to be on Empire. And you saw me and Lee Daniels, you said, Lee, this is Legendary Damon, he's fabulous, he needs to be on Empire. You know, things like that I think are rare. And like you introduced me to Kehinde Wiley, and you saw how that went. We became connected at the hip from that moment on. You mean?
Yes.
You know, a lot of people don't do that kind of stuff, and I think that it's just you're just really generous that way, and I love it. So, also, I'm going to talk about you more, and then we'll go on the interview. You're hilarious. You know, I think that sometimes you tell me hello, and I start laughing. I'm like, she just said hello. I don't get it. She just said hello. You know, I would say you're the first one on the dance floor, and you go out to have fun. A lot of people don't go out to have fun. You go out to have fun. And I think, you know, if I had to describe you, I would say you're just fun. You know what I mean? So, you're awesome.
Well, I mean, thank you so much, Legendary. I mean, you know, I love you to bits, to pieces. You know, I'm a New York City girl, born and raised, Harlem girl. So I grew up very much in tune with culture. My brother, who is 11 years older than I am, who would take me to the Roxy when I was a kid. Dirty Mind, the Prince album is I want to say the 30th? No, maybe more than that. More than 30 years since it came out, but it came out today, many years ago. But my brother took me to the Palladium when it was still a theater, before it was a nightclub, and now it's currently an NYU dorm. So I'm a part of New York City where you could be a kid and you could go to a fucking bar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
When I go to a Legendary Damon party, I'm here for the shits. I want to dance. I want to drink. I want to cavort. Unfortunately, the men that attend your parties, I've aged out of fucking them. They're too young. I don't like younger men. So shout out to everybody who's a grown-up, who's watching, who has a penis. I'm interested. But you know, that's why I like to go out for, you know, a really good time. And so you epitomize that. And the stuff that you did with The Edition was just so stellar. You really took us back. And it was so awesome to see Ian Schrager give you your flowers. You know what I mean? He saw just what a nightlife impresario that you are. And I always call you that. I call you a nightlife impresario.
You sure did.
You know what I mean? Because you're so much more than what is a promoter, honey? A promoter is somebody that, you know, hands out flyers. You are a culture, you're a lifestyle, you're an impresario. I mean, the term tastemaker is so fucking played out, but you know what I mean? You're that.
Well, it's interesting because the terms influencer and tastemaker, they make me cringe as well, but the reality is I know I am. So, you know, it's like, you know, I was that 20 years ago, so it just is what it is.
We need to do different terms. So you're an impresario. And tell people that.
And I am authentically myself, as are you. Cheers.
Cheers.
So I want to talk about Harlem a bit more. So my second favorite place on the planet is Harlem, besides Detroit, obviously, as you know. And, you know, you rep Harlem any opportunity you get. And, you know, I rep Detroit or Harlem. But I want to know, like, as a child, what influenced you? Like, who and what was influencing you as, like, a 10-year-old girl in Harlem? Like, Diana Ross, what was going on with you?
You're going to love this because it's so very you. And you know, my book is coming out, Revelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie Bestie. And then
pre-order now. Pre-order now.
Pre-order now.
Yes.
And I talk about in the book that as a kid growing up, the people that I most admired, besides my mom, when I think about style, I get my style cues from two people. My mother, whenever I dress like a lady, like whenever I put on a lady dress and I have on the heels and I have on the jewelry and all the things, that's strictly my mom, right? But when I'm like, ow, what happened? Pop it, titties, what? You know, the highest heel, the most glitter and all that. That comes from the neighborhood barmaids. They were called barmaids. They were not bartenders. They were not mixologists. They were barmaids. And they were authentic, fly women. Now, remember, when I was a kid, children could go into bars. Now, we couldn't sit at the bar and we couldn't drink or anything, not until we got like 13 or 14. Then you could go and sit at a bar. But like, you could literally go into a bar. My friend Kim Bondi is on here, and she's from New Orleans. And she knows, and New Orleans is very much in that same kind of tone as well.
Yeah.
But we would go into a bar because my friend's dad would be in the bar. He didn't live in the household. And she knew he would be there every payday. And that's the way she would stalk her daddy. So she'd be like, come with me to the Dunbar Tavern. And you would go into the Dunbar Tavern, and you would see these legendary barmaids. Hey, baby, what's going on? Different wigs, always cleavage, always a lot of jewelry.
Yeah.
But these warm, welcoming, amazing women. They didn't take no shit off of nobody, but really were the caregivers and the gatekeepers of the community.
Wow.
And it was a magical thing. And so Legendary, you know about Dinner with Bevy. So every time I'm hosting anything, from a Dinner with Bevy to a TV show to my radio show, I am embodying the spirit of those barmaids. I am actually Barmaid Bevy. Like, that's really where I get all my shit from.
That's like an unbelievably amazing story, and not at all what I was in. I thought you were going to say Diana Ross or something. That's amazing. But, you know, that just...
I never looked at celebrities for any kind of influence, ever. I was a kid. I refused to have a crush on Michael Jackson. I refused. I was like, for fucking what? I can't get Michael Jackson. I don't live in L.A. I don't live in Gary, Indiana. So I was always very, like, not enamored by celebrity. I appreciated fabulous people. Like, I love to see Lola Falana on my TV or whatever. Yeah. But I was never the person that was like, oh, my God. Because we had celebrities in our community. So I was always more focused like that. So for me, it means so much more for me to be famous in my community than to be famous in the world. Well,
I walked through the streets of Harlem with you before. You are the undisputed queen of Harlem. So I don't care what this is. You are the queen of Harlem. So your dream came true. You know.
Yes.
What did you want to be as a girl? Like as a 9-year-old girl. What did you want? What were your dream job? What would it be? You mean? What did you want to be?
So many. Again, I detail it in my book, Revelations, Lessons from a Mother, Auntie Bestie, which is on pre-order now. Yes. I detail it in the book about all of the different things that I really want to be. One of them was a secretary, because when I was a kid, you watched old movies and secretaries were the most glamorous people. Because remember, like, if I'm a kid in the 70s, early 80s, they're playing old movies, but old movies then were like movies that were made in the 50s. Women had big careers in the 50s. Yeah. So a career gal was somebody who was a secretary. She worked in an office, and she had a desk, and she typed, and she took coffee breaks, and it just looked really glamorous to me. You know what I mean? So
they were kind of dressed to the nines, the secretaries back then. Pencil skirt, and high heels. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm very enamored by the secretary lifestyle.
I have a couple other Harlem questions. So, I want to know what does Harlem mean to you, I guess, and how did Harlem influence your adult life in the way that you've navigated the entertainment industry and all these, current, relationships that you carry right now? How has Harlem kind of carried through to your adult life?
Well, Harlem gives me the confidence to move through life, right?
Yeah.
So, I just landed a really incredible gig that's nothing to do with anything that any of you guys have ever seen me do. It's a totally different field.
Good.
And I just got this new opportunity. But it's Harlem that planted the seed in my spirit and in my mind and in my heart.
Yeah.
And then it is Harlem that gave me the gumption to raise my hand and say, I can do that. Even though I've never done it before, but I know I can do it.
Yeah.
And you know, someone took a chance on me and decided, okay, great, we're gonna hire you. And so far so good. So that's what Harlem is for me. I was just on Clubhouse right before I came on here, and we were talking about, you know, a lot of people were talking about, you know, their hardships of living in communities and stuff, and being called the N-word and feeling less than and other and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I really hope that one day you guys can like go and move into a community, a black enclave, so that you can feel loved. Because, you know, again, I'm going to reference my friend Kim Bondi. She's from New Orleans. It is something to be from a place where your culture is the dominant culture. It feels really good. It feels really powerful when you are from a marginalized community. So Harlem gives me all of that zhuzh. Harlem is the reason why I can go into any room and I'm good. You know, I'm good in the hood, and I'm good I'm good downtown, and I'm good in Europe, and I'm good in, you know, South America, and I'm good in Africa. I'm good all over because Harlem is the home base, and Harlem fed me, and it gave me what I needed.
But it also kind of, you know, in a way, maybe it you know, Harlem made you who you are, and then you could confidently be that person because you know who you are because of Harlem. You know, it's like this amazing, like, circular thing. I've lived in Harlem for 20 years, as you know, and I always say Harlem, number one, is so safe. If there's a blackout or something, just get to Harlem. You're good in Harlem. Just get out of anywhere. Don't be in Brooklyn, NYC, you know, downtown. Be in Harlem, and you're good. I say it all the time. Get to Harlem. Harlem is safe. You feel safe there. You feel it. You mean? Yeah. And then another thing, Harlem is very authentic, and that was why I loved it. You mean, I lived in Williamsburg right before Harlem, which I hated. I moved to Harlem and said I feel home. The minute I got there, I said I feel home. So
yeah, exactly. And that's one of the greatest things about being from Harlem is that you do really feel like home. As soon as you touch 110th Street, you're like, okay, here I go, and you just, it's just that connectivity. My son Terrell is on here, Terrellish. He's and the way we met is because he was so fucking fly. I didn't even know he was from Harlem. And when I found out he was from Harlem, I said, oh, you coming with me? Yeah. Because I saw in him the young me. You know, obviously different gender, but I was like, this is a young man trying to navigate himself through the world of European fashion. I said, oh, I got to help him. Yeah. And, I became his mentor, and he's the first person I officially mentored ever. Yeah. I've been telling people, you know, I'm bossy and shit, Damon. So I've been telling people shit forever. But he's the first person. Me included. You've been telling me stuff forever. Forever. But he was the first person I actually officially mentored and took under my wing. And he taught me so much in that experience. And now he mentors me. So it's a full circle moment. Well, first of all, I love him, and shout out to him. Shout out to Terrell. You know, it's interesting. I was thinking, because like I don't think I officially mentored people, but Olivia Dope, Ugo Mosier, all them. I really sat down with them and talked to them and told them things. So, you know, I think, you know, I haven't officially mentored anybody, but I did a similar thing where it's important to share to people that are doing that. I think it's very important. But wait, I want to ask you some more questions. Okay, so I'm obsessed with New York City in the 80s. I wasn't there, obviously. That like the Dapper Dan, obviously Dapper Dan is, you know, a national treasure. We both know that. But the Palladium, the, you know, Madonna, Basquiat, the Houdini 80s. Tell me some stories, I guess, about New York City in the 80s. Hello? Well, a lot of great stories. You know, for me from Harlem, can you hear me, baby? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. In Harlem, we had the Rooftop, which was the iconic skating rink. If you guys, have ever seen the cult classic Paid in Full, you know, that's what that era is all about, like the era that I grew up in. So the Rooftop skating rink, the Willie Burger stand, the SNS after hour spot, all of that. And this is like, you know, this is before hip hop became diluted. It was before it became monetized. It was people doing it for the love of it. Michelle Huff just asked, where was Rooftop? Rooftop was on 155th between McCombs and 8th Avenue. And it was the place to be. Yeah. And so we had that. And then we would go downtown and we would do China Club. We would do Red Zone. We do Palladium. We would do Club USA. You know, I had Peter Gation on my radio show, Bevelations, on Sirius XM, channel 102. Every day at 5 o'clock.
He was my first boss in New York.
Peter Gation.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So I have, oh, someone said it's hard to hear me. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe, is this better?
I can hear you.
Okay. Peter Gation had all these amazing clubs, and, you know, we would like run rampant. And, you know, in my book, I talk about the fact that Biggie introduced me to Tupac. And, you know what I mean? And we all know how that story ends, right? But and that was obviously the 90s, but the 80s of New York City was incredible because it was that amazing infusion of like downtown meets uptown. And it kind of all like merged together. I'm
obsessed with the era. We're gonna run a little over, so you can go longer, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So in about 3 minutes, I have to stop it because it ends after 1 hour. You probably know that, and I'll just log back on. But I want to say, so let's talk about Vibe real quick. Vibe to me is one of the most important magazines that existed in history. So ever in magazine's history. Obviously, we're not even talking culturally. It's probably one of the most important cultural things ever, you know. And you worked there for the whole time, or like how long did you work there?
I only worked there, I think. You know, I'm so confused. I don't know if I worked there for 3 years or for 5 years. But however long I worked there.
Let's say four. Let's say four.
Let's say four. I think I got there in 99 and left 2003, which would make it 4. But it was really incredible. I always say it was kind of like being in, shout out to my girl Alma, who also worked with me at Vibe.
I love Alma.
And Claudine, shout out to Claudine, because she worked right next door at Violator. So there's magic shit going on. But it was like being in Boomerang, the movie.
Yeah.
Remember that scene where Eddie Murphy is arriving at the office and he's like snapping fire with people and he got on his suit and he's fly, and he's making a lot of money, but it's all black people?
Yeah.
That's what Vibe was like.
Yeah.
And I had just come from I had never worked with black people in my entire career. I got to Vibe, I was like maybe 28 or 29. But my entire career prior to that had all been in white spaces.
Oh, wow.
So I get the Vibe, and I'm like, oh my goodness. It was the first time my street life, my Big Bev from Uptown collided with Beverly Smith.
Amazing.
I wasn't Bevy until much later. But those two people met, and they merged, and I made a lot of money and I solidified my reputation from merging those two characters. Because I was big on the streets, and then I was, I was doing my thing in the corporate space as well.
Yeah, I get it. You were big in 2 different worlds. I get it. Well, you know what's so interesting? Missy Copeland was on here 2 weeks ago, and she said, and I never thought about this, that she had been the only black person in the American Ballet Theater, only person in the building for over 10 years, and she always felt so other, and coming to my party at Lotus made her feel like she was at home. I never thought about that. Being in these all-white world, she just feels, not normally, she's like, I just got used to feeling like other when came to your party, and I felt so, at home. It's really interesting. You don't think about those, like, the juxtapositions of like the all-white world versus like, Harlem or something, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you are of it, I was always very cognizant of it.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is that I didn't really do a lot of codes. I did a lot of code switching. I didn't let people from the streets know that I had a whole corporate big life.
Yeah.
Like I was just a hot chick at the club.
Yeah.
Like a hell of a dancer.
Yeah.
A chick that got a lot of respect. Thank you.
Right.
But so that was really like my pedigree. And no one knew I went to NYU. No one knew I was an advertising executive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one knew because it didn't have any currency.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been of any value. It would have been like, what you talking about, Mom? There's this one line in the book, and I know we have to go. But there's one line in the book, and I say, there was no reason for me to tell the hustlers that I couldn't go to Virginia Beach after the club because I had a meeting at Vanity Fair. Because one would have thought it was the fancy napkins, right? Or they would have thought it was their grandmother's bra.
Yeah.
They would have known there was a magazine. So I just that would be like, oh, I can't go to Virginia because my mother need me to take her to the doctor.
Yeah.
They're going to understand that your mother needs you and it was okay.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to hang up right now and just log back on, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to hang up on us. I have much more to talk about. Can't wait to talk. Thank you, my darling. See you in a second.